Okay, I take it that's a good sign. Okay. All right, so when we left off and talking about this heart that we have, we left off at the point where we have been discussing this structure of the heart. We've been looking at our circuits, the pulmonary circuit, the systemic circuit, and we left off looking at what could happen if anything failed in the heart. And we noticed that, like, depending on which side of the heart it could be, we could end up with edema. Now, that could be pulmonary edema, or that could be systemic edema. Because remember, the right side of the heart, that pumps to the pulmonary circuit. The left side of the heart pumps to the systemic circuit. Now, this pumping, this pump that we have, one of the things that we've been discussing a whole lot, we've discussed the cycle, basically this one cycle of blood leaving the heart and returning to the heart, how those atria and ventricles are working to do that. So when we begin to look at numbers, the test that we do, there's something called cardiac output. Cardiac output, basically, the amount ejected from the ventricle in 1 minute. An entire 60 seconds. About how many beats is that per minute? Roughly like that 65 to 70 beats per minute. That would be ejecting 65 to 70 times, correct? So cardiac output, we take the heart rate, roughly, whatever that 65, 70, whatever the beats per minute might be, and then something that's termed stroke volume, the amount, okay, for this beating of the heart. When we are at rest, that should give an amount of about 4 to 6 liters per minute. Where does that 4 to 6 liters come from? All right, so that circulation is coming from, do you guys remember the end diastolic volume? The stuff that was a few slides ahead, how we would have about 70 milliliters of fluid left behind in the heart, but the amount moving is roughly about 125 milliliters per beat. Remember that? Okay. Per beat. So that tells me that this is a volume that we're looking at per beat added up to give me what should be a volume throughout the body per minute. Is everybody following me? So, at rest, we should be able to have 4 to 6 liters moving through our body per minute. So that tells me at rest, at any point in time, I've got this 4 to 6 liters of blood in my body, in my heart and the vessels together. It takes about 1 minute for a red blood cell that left the left side of the heart to return to the right side of the heart and make its way through the entire circuit. So the little red blood cells are kind of busy too. That's kind of cool if you think about it. But wait a minute. At rest. Now, I'm going to go out and run a half marathon. Like I've told y'all, y'all see me running, you better run with me, okay? Because there's something coming and you don't want to know what it is. Other than that, I don't run, okay? However, let's pretend Dr. Young is going to train for a half marathon, okay? Now, she's about as out of shape as she can be, but 6 months, she's going to run that half marathon, all right? So, that means I got to leave that rest, okay? And I got to get up, and I've got to be physically active. Does my heart rate, my breathing rate, does all of that just stay the same? No. Everything increases. My cardiac output, which will be this fluid per minute, will match what I'm going to start doing at the time of exercise. People who train, now this right here, that would probably be an Olympic athlete, okay? Like that dude that trains for the decathlon stuff, the 10 stuff. Okay, so his cardiac output probably reaches roughly 21 liters per minute. Yeah, please. I don't see anybody's brain clicking right now.
I see some cardiac output. It said heart rate times the stroke value. What is the stroke value?
Stroke volume is a huge matter for us. And I didn't want to get too detailed because I just want you to focus on the body. Now, oh, I'm sorry. 21 is for, I guess, somebody like me who's going to be struggling. Look at what happens to the world-class athlete. Can y'all imagine that much fluid flowing through your body? Now, we have not gotten to another system. But there's a system that goes along with this that I don't want you to forget this. Okay. I know this is not the biggest, like, model. I wish it was bigger. Like the torsos. Just seems wrong. But anyway. It, okay? My heart. This is representing my aorta. That aorta curves and begins its descent downward. Is everybody following me? When it bends and begins the descent downward, what is the first system that you see it hit? The kidneys. The system we haven't gotten to yet. Do you happen to know how much blood moves through your kidneys per minute? What's the job of the kidneys? Filtration. 4 to 6 liters per minute, leaving the heart, immediately hitting the kidneys. Roughly 70% circulates through the kidneys per minute. Now, if I leave rest, go into my physical exercise, do you think that volume just stays the same? It's got to increase through my kidneys too. Does your body accommodate all of this? Yes. How do we know it accommodates all of this? We're not dead. Well, now, I don't know. If I were to start running, I'd probably make it from here to the door, and then I'd pass out. So, if we do that, the body matches it. All right? We have something termed cardiac reserve. Cardiac reserve the number between the person's maximum and then their resting cardiac output. The ability for your heart to meet the demands placed upon it, okay? It will do that, and you can actually increase the efficiency of your heart based on exercising. Is that always the case? Okay, no, all right. I mean, there are people who are out there and run 5 miles a day and, drop dead from a heart attack. But for the most part, okay, the more physically fit you are, the more your heart can meet the demands placed upon it. It will actually be more physically fit because the heart's a muscle just like the rest of the muscle in the body. You train it just like you train the rest of the muscles. It's muscle. It doesn't grow because remember, muscle doesn't duplicate. Now, in skeletal muscle grows because people get bigger, okay? If you look at people who lift a weight and everything, but what is it that's actually growing in that muscle for the skeletal muscle? Huh? Which which fibers, not fibers per se, but when we think about a muscle fiber, muscle cell, what's in that muscle fiber, that muscle cell? Actin and myosin, which are protein filaments. So people who are going to be doing this, okay, we're going to be getting all bulked up and everything. What do you see them doing, taking a whole lot of? Protein powders, protein drinks, eating a lot of meat, okay? Because they're building up the protein fibers, the actin and the myosin. The cardiac muscle, shaped differently, however, still actin and myosin. However, we can't build up those fibers like we can in skeletal muscle, but they can still be trained, like the skeletal muscle. Because as long as a person who's bulking up, if they stop that, what happens? Their muscles go, why do their muscles go away?
Because they need that much.
It breaks it down. It breaks down the actin and myosin because it doesn't need it. And since they are proteins, they simply break it down into the amino acids. Isn't that pretty cool? But we don't want the heart doing that. We don't want it building up or breaking it down. So it gets more effective at what it does. Does that make sense? It'll meet the demands that are placed upon it.
But it doesn't want to last longer at a higher rate.
Yep. Training it. You're training it. Just like you train the skeletal muscle, it just doesn't increase its size.
So for else, you build your muscle. It's not to build your muscle strength.
There's differences based upon what you want to do. Do you want to be like this, or do you want to be more lean and fat? So there's differences that can be done. Now, in this whole idea of the cardiac output,